many of y'all know Phil Black? He stopped by today. He wants to give us a little rundown on what he's going to be doing. Are you running? He's running. Hey, Rick. So go ahead, Phil. Tell us in on what you're planning on doing. Come on, dude.
I'll give it another half hour.
My name is Bill Black. I'm a little country boy. We've had a store down in Baltimore for 37 years.
Hi, Phil.
Hey, Rich. Rich and I know each other. But anyway, get back to case at hand. We've got to get back to the basics. We've got
You
to
want
be
to
very
slide up
careful.
here?
What we need to start with is our young folks. In the store in Barnwell, over the last 35 years, 4 kids come through, okay? We call it apprenticeship program. We taught them how to do electrical, we taught them how to communicate, how to do resale. 3 of them now are working with SCEG. They have a fantastic job. The last little fellow, we kind of analyzed him, and he has gone to the Air Force, doing great in the Air Force. Today, the kid's not interested. We can't find a kid coming out of vocational school. He wants to come in to be an apprentice. They're just not interested. Okay, they play their video games and that thing. So tonight, I think they're having a meeting. I took Ted McGee and Jimmy Johnson up to Della House, which is up in McCormick County. Back, I guess 127 years ago, whatever it was, a gentleman donated that to the county or to whoever for an orphanage. Okay, back in the 50s, they had a dairy. They had the gardens. They raised the cows. They raised the beef. They raised everything. It was self-sufficient. When they got to, I think it was the 7th, 8th grade, they went to school in McCormick, South Carolina. The kids coming out of there are great citizens today. I mean, they have realized the basics. The reason I can relate to this, we moved up to Calhoun Falls. My dad got promoted, and I came from Denmark. And the first day, the little boys in Calhoun Falls lined up, and they flipped my pedonka. So I became a lint here later in life. In the 10th grade, I was expelled from high school. So I had to go to Riverside Military Academy in Gainesville, Florida. So I understand discipline. I had learned the hard way. But today, the kids don't understand discipline. They don't realize their complications to their actions. And when I was on the school board in executive sessions, we'd have a little kid that got in trouble. Well, who would come? His parents and an attorney to try to get the kid off this type thing. They'd be sitting there just smiling because of the attention they were getting. Today, I guess the kids who want attention or whatnot, they go into gangs. They look at it from the standpoint, those somebody loves them, somebody gives them attention. They look at it's the wrong place to go. Parenting has been lost. You look at what's happening with the welfare system. Okay? Just think of it very simply. When a kid comes into the world, it's like whoever picks up a pencil. Whoever writes with the pencil, that's how the kid turns out. Okay? Same thing. The influence is the same thing. They learn from the environment, who they're with, their peers or their group that they run with. Go back to what we're doing today. Today we're paying for a dead horse. Okay? Look at it from the standpoint of a house that's filled up with sewage. Okay? What do you do with this? Do you lift the roof, the ceiling, or you pump the sewage out? We've got to get back to the basics. We've got to cut spending. There are 3 or 4. I retired from SBA. I had 26 years of small business. I understand business. I've had 5 or 6 other businesses over the years. Underground pipe business. There's a used car lot. I had a management recruiting business. I had an auto body shop, auto alignment, and a couple others. But the one in Barnwell, we stayed with the basics. We've been there, like I said, 36 years. The economy has turned. When we started, we had 15 wholesalers calling us. Today we have 4. We compete with Home Depot and Lowe's. But you go in our store because we stay with the basics, our prices. Little can of glue, PVC glue, we sell it for $3.99. You go into Lowe's, it is $4.67. So they've got an overhead. That's what's happened to the government. Then we go back to what has really happened from the standpoint of our manufacturing. We've lost manufacturing. In Barnwell, we had 2 mills, both have closed. Okay, the people in both those mills, 800 plus people, okay, have not got a job today. Okay, they have a little savings account. They have just a little credit card balance, or they get a little unemployment check. The unemployment check does not take care of their living expenses. They're maxing their cards out. They're closing their savings out. What are they going to do? Then you go out to the outside of town, and you have 3 generations living on welfare. We have created a welfare society. We did not do those people on welfare any favors. Okay, they're totally dependent on Uncle Sam. Okay, so which one is better off? In the place out there, welfare community, I call it, they have 3 places to live, they have food to eat, they have money to spend, they have cable TV, and they have a cell phone. Okay? So I mean, it's really a situation where we have created a dependency of people. So what I look at, we got to get back to basics. EPA is a disaster of free enterprise. All right. Last summer, I had a guy come in and start a blueberry farm. He bought the irrigation system, only $2,200, $2,200. But to him, that was a lot of investment. He got his irrigation in. So all of a sudden, hey, he had to have certification before we could sell to the farmers market or roadside free stand, veggie stand. So he went to get the certification. They came out and said, you got to have a porta potty. You got to have a place for people to wash their hands. You got to do this, that. He couldn't afford this. So of course he didn't do it. So the only way we will get back to the basics is free enterprise. When you look at, when he has to do that for certification, sell his blueberries, what is the EPA doing for the veggies coming in from Mexico? I tell you the truth, we would be, I guess, horrified to see what the conditions are that veggies are being raised in Mexico compared to the regulations we have now. Same thing with turkey.
You're exactly right, because I was a diesel mechanic and I used to work on a lot of refrigerated trailers, and when they come in for repair, I'd see the vegetables and food and stuff like that coming out of Mexico on these trucks.
It's pathetic, yeah. But to get back to the free enterprise, we've got to go back and say, okay, at SBA, I guess it's 15 years ago plus, we had a program, best program the federal government's ever come up with, entrepreneurial program. In other words, you had an invention, you got a little small grant to take this and get a model and get your patent. Once you got your patent, you were on your own. Go back to free enterprise, you get investors to come in and invest. Talking about diesel fuel, coal right now, you can take coal for $3 a barrel to make diesel fuel. Right now, we've got a plant coming in Blackville, South Carolina, which I haven't been by to investigate it, but it sounds fantastic. They're going to take plastic, recycle plastic, and make synthetic oil. Why didn't we do this years and years ago? Because the small entrepreneurs, the Mooney brothers, had an engine back in the 50s when they were race car drivers. They would get 40, 50 miles to a gallon. It's a corporation. But they didn't have the money to get it patented, so big corporations bought it out, whereas so we're getting back to situations. We don't get back to the basics. Now you say one person can't make a difference. Not true. Castro is one person. We had NAFTA, which Ross Perot said we'll have a second sign on as long as we're going to Mexico. And it did. Then CAFTA came up. Okay? We had one person who was the deciding vote on CAFTA. And that was my little buddy, Joe Wilson. He was the deciding vote. That's when both our mills in Baltimore closed. So we're looking back to the basics. All I want to do is have 4 years to try to get to Washington and try to expose it and try to change it. What will I do? I will go to Washington. I will only take a salary, which is the mean salary of Speaker District 2. I will only stay 4 years. 6 if I think I can get something done. Okay, I will stay with the insurance policy I've got now. I will stay with the retirement program I've got now. I will have a huge sign in the lobby, no solicitation by lobbyists. There are 13,000 lobbyists in Washington. They have, I think it's $42 billion budget. That's a lot of hot dogs and hamburgers they're buying by politicians. So that's kind of it. That's me. I'm a simple country boy who, because of I look at the eyes of my 6 grandchildren. They don't have a future. They really don't. And I feel like that I've been so complacent that I've let this happen. I don't blame anybody. It's not the politicians' fault. It's the voters' fault because they vote for them. Then you get back to the lobbyists. It's really not the lobbyists' fault. The federal government has caused that monster for them to get contracts. So they're having to look at from the situation which is corrupt. I know, the reason I know about corruption, my granddad's brother was sheriff in Baltimore for many years. And I remember all the paybacks he got for liquor steals. Because you didn't pay Uncle Jeff for protection on the liquor steal, he fed the mash of that liquor steal for his hogs. So it didn't start today. It's just gotten so massive and so out of control, but it's got to stop. If it doesn't stop, it's going to stop itself. You can only spend so much money. We get down to what's the next step? Depression. And once we get to depression, it's going to all start over again. We don't want to get to that. That's too hard, too cold. When I was coming up, I remember the hard times. I rode between 2 mules on a pillow Then my granddaddy plowed. He had an outhouse. He had a smokehouse. He raised everything. And if everybody had done like him, he'd take his cantaloupes over to Blackville, back there in the markets on the main street. Everybody just pulled their little buggies in and sold that cantaloupes out of it and handling them. And if he didn't get 3 cents for his cantaloupes, he'd take it back to the house. So from the standpoint now, it's just gotten to the point where the farmers were independent, we've been independent, we haven't stuck together. You look at all the ones that are getting the laws and whatnot, they're sticking together. But you've got organizations, there are 3 things in government, okay? One is greed. Greed's a nasty thing, but it's in basically everything. The second thing is called academia. I have no problem with the people who get a law degree, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about no child left behind, stimulus package. It goes on and on and on, just from the standpoint. On paper, it looks pretty good. In reality, it does not work, okay? Then the last thing, and the most important and most dangerous, is the special interest groups. George Soros, those type of people, they have completely taken it off control. So that's it. If y'all will give me a chance, if y'all will vote for me on June 12th, I can only tell you this, what you get, I will not change. Any questions?